one mic.
All I need is one mic.
It's just different.
One mic with Big Mike.
The overall tenor of what he's saying is very stupid.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
Maybe it's not racism. Maybe it's placism.
Brother has to know his place, right, Bob?
One mic with Big Mike.
Things aren't always what they seem.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limit.
Don't just tell me that the reason something's being done is because that's the way it's always been done. Because the first thing I'm going to say to you is slavery.
And now, your host.
I got the big homie here who needs no introduction.
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Yes, sir. It is me. It is I. One mic with Big Mike. I am, of course, Big Mike, back with you here on a Friday. Missed that Wednesday. Where's my... Oh, okay. I'll make sure we get the Friday horn knocked out there, man. Ready for the weekend. It's like 78 degrees here in the ATL today. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. I'm going to enjoy mine, man. I hope you guys enjoy yours. But before that, what is it? In the meantime, in between time, I got a show to do, man. Like I said, I missed Wednesday, so I'm back today to wrap up the week with you guys here on Spreaker.com, also on the Spreaker app. I'm also heard live on TuneIn, and of course, One Mic with BigMike.com, which is my website. About to do an overhaul of that whole situation. Looking to do like a revamp of the show, man. Kind of revive it a little bit, give it a reboot or whatnot. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but I'll keep you guys posted on how that goes. If you don't get a chance to hear the entire show live tonight, all my shows are available on demand on all the platforms I've already mentioned, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to that. Subscribe to my iTunes as well, and like and share all my other outlets, my iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music. You should have all those downloaded on your mobile devices, as a matter of fact. Also have the Spreaker app downloaded as well. Sign up for your free Spreaker accounts, you guys, and follow me on Spreaker. At One Mic with Big Mike is where you want to be, what you want to search for. And then every time the show goes live, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you'll get an alert letting you know that it's time to go. It's time to rock and roll. If you guys want to be a part of the show, you can do that in a couple different ways. You can check me out here on my live stream. I'm going live right now on Facebook. My Facebook page is, of course, the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE. Same goes for my Twitter and my Instagram. Twitter, you're going to want to have that on deck because I got my hashtag, put it on the poll questions, ready to rock right now. But you can leave your comments and questions below my live streaming video here on Facebook if you want to be a part of the show. You can also text me at 404-902-8104. And you can use these methods even when I'm not here, even when I'm not doing the show live. You can always get in contact with me via the text or leave your thoughts. You're an idiot. I can't believe you said this about whoever or whatever the hell dumb thing I said. You can always drop those comments below the videos because I keep them posted on my Facebook page. You can always text the show 404-902-8104. Don't expect a reply if you text me because I'm not carrying the phone around, that particular device around, I should say, to get the text. But I will address it on the next show, the next live show. So don't think that I'm gonna ignore you. I'll still mess with you. Or you can jump inside this live interactive chat room I got here on Spreaker. You got to be listening to the show, of course, via Spreaker or the app, or my website, onemicwithbigmike.com, and you'll see a little thought bubble icon sitting on the streaming player. Just click on that. It'll get you right up inside the live interactive chat room. Also, speaking of clicking things, make sure you click that little heart icon as well to indicate that you like the show. I got to get my numbers up and all that kind of stuff. And also click the little share icons as well. You'll see a share for Google, for Twitter, for Facebook. Just click all of them. Let all your friends know that it's time to rock and roll. The One Mic with Big Mike show is here. It's a little bit different. You know what I mean? It's not your average everyday situation, sports talk situation. I kind of do things the way I want to do them. And, it is what it is. Shout out to my man, I Am No Dose. He's up in there. I feel like I can't hear myself. It feels like I'm low or something, like my mic is low. All right, here we go. What up, boy? So, as far as today's show go, I got to do some catching up, and then I got to do some moving forward. I don't know if y'all heard. The WNBA is 98% lesbian. That's probably one of the funniest things I heard in the last couple of days. That really, like, genuinely, outside of like your man Agent Orange, inside of him, he keep me tripping. Y'all president. But yeah, but Shawty said that the Candace somebody, she said the WNBA is 98% lesbian. Shout out to them for that. I'll probably try to get that worked into the conversation at some point tonight. Put it on the poll. Hashtag put it on the poll, brought to us by sportsnewsandbrews.com. I got a couple of questions up for you guys already. One has to do with baseball. Yes, baseball on the One Mike with Big Mike show. Should batters really have to run the bases after they hit a damn home run? I think not. Like, you hit the ball out the park, just take your ass. Like, I'm the dude too. Also, I believe if you hit a home run, you should be able to bat again. Like, you know, like in basketball. Like if Steph is hot. Speaking of Steph, we'll get into him and his partners in a minute too. But if LeBron is hot, you keep feeding his ass. Like, I feel like if a dude hit a home run, he shouldn't have to run nowhere. Say, right where you at, let's go again. And because it's all this stuff now, Rob Manfred, just to give you guys the backstory on all this. Rob Manfred wants to speed the game up, and he's telling these cats, like, look, man, we don't need to throw 4 pitches. If you want to walk a dude, just tell him to take the damn base. Go to first base, and let's cut that out. It's not going to cut a lot of time out of the game, but I understand his perspective when he's saying, you know, he wants to keep the action going. He don't want to continue to place all these pauses in the game that's already damn boring as hell. I don't know if that's going to help anything at all, but, you know, every little bit helps, I guess, right? Every little bit of time. So the question is, should batters really have to run the bases after they hit a home run? 50% of you JOs said yes. Only 17% so far are agreeing with me. And 33% don't care. I probably fall like halfway in between no and don't care, to be honest with you. So you can still answer that question at my Twitter, One Mike with Big Mike, the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. Draymond went hard on the homie Paul Pierce yesterday, beginning of the game too. Like, he didn't even wait to get like lathered up. Draymond went all the way. I'm gonna let y'all hear it. I'll play it again at some point during the show because I think it's hilarious. But here's what Draymond did. He did to Paul Pierce yesterday.
Chasing that farewell tour, they don't love you like that.
By 17,
Can't get no farewell
by
tour.
46, is at 184-98. Victory here in Oakland in our 13th.
He said, you wish he was Kobe. He said, they don't love you like that, bruh. Look, hashtag approved. So the hashtag put it on the poll question is, Draymond's comments to Paul Pierce were, and your two options are, uncalled for and right on point. Only 39% thought they were right on point. That a part of that's probably because a lot of people don't like Draymond though. I love that dude. He's awesome. And 61% say it was uncalled for. Whatever, dude. Whatever. Like, it's funny how well, we'll get into it. When I start talking about this particular subject, because I got my man Jovan Buha, ESPN.com, coming on at the bottom of the hour to talk some ball with me. We got to talk about all these trades and whatnot. The second quote-unquote half of the season, even though we're far past the halfway point of the NBA season right now. But the post-All-Star break portion of the season leading into the playoffs, we got to talk to him about that as well. That's coming up at the bottom of the hour, or 7:30 if you're listening live. When you have an appliance delivered, this is something that's like you know what I mean? This is something that's I had to put on here because I didn't know what to do. I got a new stove the other day, a new whatever range or whatever you call it. And I was like, damn, I don't know. Do you tip the delivery dudes? Like, I am no those Reggie. Do you tip the delivery dudes that bring like your appliances from wherever, Home Depot or Lowe's or Sears or wherever you get it from? Do you tip those dudes? Like, how you run that? I mean, it's too late now. I already did what I was going to do, but I asked that question on the poll question. The poll is closed now. The other two are still open. This poll question is closed. When you have an appliance delivered, do you tip the delivery person? Hashtag put it on the poll. It's brought to us again by sportsnewsandbrews.com. Make sure you go check out that website. 20% of you bastards said yes, and 80% said no. How is that life? You know what I mean? Like, how is that a thing? And also, like, I understand the demographics of the neighborhood that I live in. So usually, like, the delivery folk, they don't send the white boys to our neighborhood. You know, they kind of like try to match it up, I guess. They kind of match it up by who lives in the neighborhood. So there's a couple brothers that came by. And, we chopped it up a little bit or whatever, and they was cool. And here's the other thing, too, I love about, like, when the bros come through. When you get stuff, especially when you buy stuff online, they try to, like, upsell you on all kind of things. You want the thing hauled away, we'll charge you this to haul it away. You're going to need to hook up parts for it or whatever. I ain't getting none of that because I already figured if they send the right person, which I figured they would, I ain't got to worry about that. So I told my man, I was like, look, dog, I thought y'all was just going to use the old hookup to hook the stove up. He's like, nah, dog, don't worry about it. I got one in the truck. Bang. Yeah, that was like $40 they wanted for that in my pocket. So yeah, I dropped the dude a couple, $10 and some and a couple, Gatorades, for their time. We talked about some other stuff real quick or whatnot. I gladly, like, and here's my other point to doing that as well, because I know they're gonna send some bruhs over to my crib. I'd rather give the money directly to the bruhs. Because he took the other one out, put it on the curb from me. All I got to do is call the sanitation people. My taxes pay for them to come pick that up. I don't need, no Home Depot, Lowe's, Sears, whoever to take it away from me. The trash man gonna come get it because I pay for that already. You know what I mean? But homie put it on the little dolly, took it out there for me and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I dropped him off a couple bucks. It ain't cost me nothing. And he, what I'm saying? And he was generous enough to save me $40. So really, my net gain. I gained $30, suckers. I am no those. They're not paid like servers. Damn, dude. Like, let me tell you something about this dude. Like, every time I feel like I'm a bad dude, man. Like, this dude is like, no. It's almost like this dude was like, challenge accepted. I'll show you what a bad dude is. He's like, hell no. I don't tip them bastards. They ride around that hot ass truck all day. They get paid enough. You don't even know how much they get paid. It could be $5 an hour. You don't even know. Oh, God. Anyway, moving on. As far as the rest of the show goes, of course, I'm going to talk about the NFL Combine is next week, one of my favorite times of the year, and I'm really not prepared for it. I usually get really geeked up and really, studied up for these things, but it kind of crept up on me this year. I'm gonna do some real I don't call it like studying, but I'm gonna check out some of the guys I want to keep my eyes on during the Combine. NFL Draft Breakdown is where I go if you guys are looking for a site that'll give you like. You can watch players on film. You don't have to always listen to Mel Kiper and all these cats tell you. You can actually watch these guys' game film. It's not going to be the coach's film, but they condense it. They cut all the commercials out. They cut all the huddles out and all that kind of stuff. And they just chop it up to every play, and they highlight the player on the field for and it takes like 20 minutes to watch a whole game of somebody. You know what I mean? Before the Falcons drafted Devontae Freeman, I remember telling people at the radio station I was at how good I thought that dude was going to be, man, and it's kind of panned out that way because I saw him play at Florida State. I realized that he did split time, but all that meant to me was that, look, he don't had that many miles on his body, and he seemed to be a smart player. And subsequently, in lieu of what happened in the Super Bowl, he was a kid that always knew where the blitz was coming from or where his pass protection assignments were. And of course, in the biggest game he's ever played in, he blew that out the water. But so no, NFL Draft Breakdown is where you want to go for that. Go for that if you're that type of person, you're interested in that kind of stuff, like I am. So we'll talk about the Combine and this new rule. I remember talking about this last year when they implemented the rule about the certain players with certain attributes not being allowed to come or not being invited. Weirdo stuff. Of course, at the top of the next hour, I'll do my daily feature on this day. I want to talk a little bit about the Oscars as well, because the Oscars was so white last year, and they kind of like they got some melanin in them this year. And another thing that kind of slipped on, I usually have seen a lot of these Oscar-nominated movies before the awards come out. I don't watch any of the award shows, by the way, but I usually see a lot of these movies beforehand in my own special way. But I haven't seen a lot of them. I've only seen like maybe 3 or 4 of them so far this year. So I got to get caught up this weekend on that too. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to do this weekend. Springtime, got to go spray the weeds and all that kind of stuff. Wash the cars the other day. I got like real grown man responsibilities, and it sucks. It sucks ass is what it does. What else do I got to talk about today? Nothing really. Bunch of NBA stuff. My man Jameis, shout out to Jameis Winston. I hope y'all saw this man giving a motivational pep talk or whatever the hell it was, just elementary school, and like forgetting that it's 2017 and not 1985 anymore. So I'll have some fun with that before the show's over. The first thing I want to talk about with you guys today is, if you hadn't heard, Magic Johson, big boyed his way all up into the top of the LA Lakers franchise. A lot of Negroes are happy about it, and you know it is what it is. I don't know why necessarily. So Stephen A. Smith caught a fit, almost had a damn aneurysm. He was celebrating about it so much. He kicked out Mitch Kupchak, had Jeannie Buss fire her own damn brother. Hell yeah. And he kind of fired himself anyway, because he was talking all that stuff about if the team isn't competitive and back in the playoffs in 2 years, I'll leave. She was like, don't leave. I'll get rid of you. And then it happened like on the brink. Is that the word I'm trying to use? The brink. At the same time that she broke up with Phil Jackson, which it seems like that should make somebody like her happy. I mean, she like 55 years old, but, you know, for an older white lady, Jeannie Buss is kind of good looking. She out there in L.A. where she can get her work done, you know, inconspicuously and all that kind of stuff. So she holding up. And like if you didn't know who Phil Jackson was, right, and I just put a picture of her by Phil and it was like, these two people are together and engaged to be married, you'd be like, what the hell? That's ridiculous. Yeah, it would be. But Phil Jackson's Phil Jackson. He's a filthy, stinking, rich white dude, and he's got a bunch of, you know, swag about him and all this kind of stuff. So it seemed to have worked for a while. And then, of course, long-distance relationship. He's in L.A., or she's in L.A., and he works for a New York team. I don't know where the hell he's ever at, but he works for a New York team. So, you know, that's a little bit strenuous, too. And plus, you know, Phil be probably trying to get topped off up there in Montana or wherever the hell he's at. Yeah, see? Exactly. I knew I wasn't the only one. Oh, man, my man, I am no dose. He's in the chat room, man. If you guys want to join him, just go to Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app, download it, and click on the little thought bubble icon you see on your streaming player. He's in there talking about Jeannie Buss could get that work. Exactly. Like, it ain't just me. And then you get like the double whammy, because it's like, yeah, dude. You know, you smash Jeannie, but you also smash like the head of the Lakers, dude. That's like an extra caveat to the whole mix. Yeah, approved. # approved. So anyway, Magic Johson, he is officially the president of basketball operations. He is the same person that Phil Jackson is for the Knicks. He's bringing on his boy, a guy named Rob Pelinka, who is an agent, to be the GM. He's Kobe Bryant's agent. I think he was James Harden's agent. You know what I mean? They're keeping Ryan West. You say, who is Ryan West? Well, he's the Logo's son. He's Jerry West's son. So they're keeping him. Of course, he's got Lakers ties as well. It's about to be this whole family affair, except the real family has gotten kicked the hell out of there. The media relations guy got the hell out of there, John Black. What else do I have here? They talk about I'm looking at this article that I highlighted, how over the past years, no one really wanted to go to L.A. Carmelo Anthony gave him the old whatever. LaMarcus Aldridge, they had 2 meetings with LaMarcus Aldridge because the first one was so damn bad. Kevin Durant was like, don't even call me, cuz. don't even call me. I ain't coming. They botched DeMarcus Cousins deal, apparently. They wanted, what's the kid's name? Brandon Ingram, the little skinny kid. They wanted him. Whereas New Orleans was like, oh, Buddy Hield? Sure. Yeah, we might have just drafted him. We don't care. Give us the best player, like the best big in the league. Give us him. You can take this project, this 24-year-old. What is he, 23 years old? He's damn near in retirement already. Take this 23-year-old project off our hands. Of course, Brandon Ingram is a lot younger, but apparently this whole Boogie Cousins deal was like some backroom dealing. Jeannie Buss didn't really know about it, and you know your man Mitch Kupchak just had to bounce on that. It was too much to handle, and like they was just messing with this broad at the wrong time in life. And then here comes Magic with that magic smile, and he called her to see if she was all right after breaking up with Phil Jackson. And yes, indeed, swooped on in there. It's like, you know what, baby, I can help you out with all this. You know who I am, don't you? I'm Magic. and next thing you know, Magic went from, in a week, dude, Magic went from being a consultant to the president immediately. Everybody else asked, he was talking about, I look forward to working with so-and-so and Mitch and Jerry. And what's the kid's name? Jerry's the daddy, right? Anyway, whoever else, they ain't there no more. Magic was like, I look forward to working with her. Magic a damn lie. Magic was like, you got to get rid of all these cats. I can't even do my job. Now, speaking of Magic's job, some questions were asked about him actually having this job and getting this job. And the questions were asked by a guy who I really respect in this business. He does this thing. He does it very well, I believe. One of the best, Dan Le Batard. And he talked about Magic Johnson getting this job basically because of his charisma, a lot of, his the way he's associated with the team, but not necessarily being qualified for the job. And kind of raising the question that if this kind of stuff is happening with Phil Jackson and stuff is happening with John Lynch, it's happening with Magic Johnson, like how qualified, like how smart and qualified do you really have to be to do these jobs? If dudes can just give these jobs, these GM jobs, these president jobs to people who they are friends with that happen to be popular as well, how intense and how smart do you really have to be? I think as fans, we give these people a lot of credit and a lot of grief when things don't go right with your favorite team, right? Thomas Dimitroff, even to this day, my man Rob Calloway, who I used to do the Sports Kings with, still believes that Thomas Dimitroff should have got his ass fired years ago. Like, this is after, like, right before the Super Bowl, he says this, that I don't know why the hell he's still here. I'm like, wait, dog, but they in the Super Bowl with a bunch of players that he drafted. And I was like, okay, if not him, then who? He was like, Scott Pioli, the guy he's already here. So that dude is already working for the Falcons. So it's pretty much a wash. You just want somebody to be fired. So anyway, Le Batard said some things, and it turned into like this huge, stupid conversation, like that Le Batard's a racist and all this kind of stuff. Before I go any further, let me play you guys what Le Batard said about Magic Johnson. If you hadn't heard it, you can make your own assessment on what you think he meant. It's only a 30-second clip. I happened to watch the show while I was working. I got a chance to watch the show, so I got all the context in which he was speaking of in this manner. I tried to give it to you here I tried to give it to you just now in a little bitty condensed form. But here's his actual voice and him speaking on Magic Johnson.
What you've got here, though, is a testament to the power of fame, and a testament to the power of a modicum of charm, because Magic Johnson is charming. But Magic Johnson was given a late-night television show because he's famous and charming. Failed in 11 shows. Magic Johnson was given a head coaching job of the Lakers because he's famous and charming. Failed in 16 games. Magic Johnson, not interesting as a broadcaster.
This is true.
Broadcasting opportunity after broadcasting opportunity because he's famous and charming. And now he gets to run the entire Lakers organization because he's famous and charming. That's amazing. That is amazing how he's been able, and he's a very kind man. To be in his presence is to be awash in all the things that people like about celebrity. He will make you feel special. But he wasn't good at any of the jobs that I just mentioned, and he got all those jobs, bypassing a whole bunch of people who were more qualified because he's famous and charming. I don't see
the argument to that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the type of dude, like, it doesn't matter how people get their job. My first radio job, it wasn't because I was qualified. Somebody that knew me spoke highly of me, and then I said some things to the vice president of Cox Radio Atlanta that seemed to have, I guess, intrigued him, and he hired me on the spot. No, there wasn't no resumes. I ain't like apply for nothing. He was just like, yeah, get him the paperwork. You know what I mean? So everything that you need to know about a person happens after they're hired. So, because even a person that's supposedly qualified for something can get into a gig and bomb, right? But in saying all that, I don't think there's anything wrong. No one else finds that amazing? That kind of stuff happens? This dude is running an entire franchise. And when my man Jovan comes on, I'm going to talk to him about this too. He works within the NBA. He covers games. He's in and out of the league. He's entrenched. So he can tell us more on what the job is of Magic Johson. Like what are his day-to-day responsibilities is going to be? Because I would think it's more than running Starbucks. That's pretty much self-contained. I don't know. The Magic Johson theaters, is that even a thing anymore? Magic Johson theaters don't exist anymore, do they? There was a thing for a minute, putting movie theaters in the hood, and they're gone. The one that was here by Greenbrier Mall, I know that's gone. And some of the other stuff, like him being a part of the Dodgers, he don't do nothing with the Dodgers. He's a minority stakeholder, and he's allowed to be a face that people recognize. And I think what Dan is saying is it's the same thing in this situation. Like, there are people who actually worked their way up, started as like film guys, and like Thomas Dimitrov, for example. I think Thomas Dimitrov started as like I don't want to call it a field hand. That makes it sound like he's a slave. The kids that go out and set up the field for practice, he started out as that and worked his way up through the NFL to become a general manager. Just to use somebody as an example of people who actually take certain steps. Magic Johson was like, "Hey, baby, you all right after that breakup?" And she was like, "No, I know it'll make you feel better if I come work with you." Like, Magic Johnson's first thing he said, if I get to do this, I want Kobe Bryant here. Another person, like, why the hell would you think that Kobe Bryant would be good at building a team? These two people are great basketball players. They're awesome at basketball. But what makes you think that one skill necessarily translates to another one because you like him? Now, here's the thing I will say that no one's talking about. I hate when people say that. But this time it's true because people are just scared and they're just wussies about stuff. And it doesn't sound right. But I'll say it. I don't care. Magic Johson beat AIDS, cuz. Like, if you beat AIDS, you pretty much got my confidence that you can do anything. At that point, it's like, yeah, want to hire Magic to, like, redesign the space program in NASA. Sweet. Let's do it. I mean, that dude beat AIDS, so at the end of the day, what can't he do? Yeah. You know, and I don't know if that's what Jeannie Buss was thinking. I know that's not what Dan Le Batard is talking about. Before I run out of time here, I want you guys to hear something. Keyshawn Johnson on his radio show out in ESPN LA. Here was his reaction to it. And it's one of the things that bother me so much about black people, man, that you don't allow context to set in. You just jump on something because you hear what you think is a white man. Dan Le Batard is Cuban, by the way. He just passes the eye test. What you think is a white man criticizing this beloved black man. Here's Keyshawn.
I can't tolerate him saying these things about Magic Johson because his facts are completely wrong. He got a talk show because he was coming out of the NBA. They were trying late night talk show with African Americans. He was a guy in the city of LA that everybody liked.
Wait. Is he not saying the same thing? Like Le Batard is saying because he's charming and likable. Did Keyshawn Johnson not just destroy his whole point of being angry? You just said the same thing. He got a talk show because he came out of the NBA. He was a black man, and everybody likes him. Same thing, just a different person saying it.
You're only on the radio right now because you're interesting. That's the only reason why you're on the radio, because you're interesting.
I got to stop it there, too. That's a lot of times the problems that people like me have with athletes getting into sports radio. Because they were given jobs because of who they are. Not understand that there are people who actually had to start off in certain places, producing, before that interning, doing promotions and all this kind of stuff before they got to be in places where they were on the radio. You know what I mean? So many times athletes walk in and be like, "Oh yeah, this guy's pretty funny." Somebody must have seen that off the rip and put him straight on the radio. Doesn't work like that, Keyshawn. Yeah, again, just destroying his point. People need to be qualified for the things that he's talking about. I'll let it play.
You know the things that you're talking about. So you're interesting. People like you on radio. Let me move on to number 2.
Yeah, move on.
Coaching. Dr. Jerry Buss asked Magic to come and help the Lakers try to figure out the last part of the season. He wasn't there for the long haul. He never coached a day in his life.
16
Again.
16 games. Shut up,
proving Le Batard's point. He'd never done it before. And somebody he knew that liked him said, hey, you know what you ought to do? Come coach one of the most storied franchises ever in basketball because you played here and I like you and you're charming. He's proving the dude's point. He goes on to say, shut up, Le Batard. Like, that's a thing, right?
Batard, be quiet. Then let me move to the third.
Go ahead.
He failed on the NBA countdown. They moved countdown to L.A. for him. I'm going to read between the lines.
No,
I'm going to read between the lines on this one.
Read between what lines?
To me, he's saying because he's a black dude. That's the way I look at it. That's me. No. That's the way I look at it.
That's ignorant as hell. That's ignorant and unformed. He thinks ESPN, this huge conglomerate, has a headquarters in L.A. because of Magic Johnson? Raise your hand if you think Magic Johnson is like the bomb on television. Like you just can't wait to hear what Magic is saying. I didn't think so. Look, man, I got my man Jovan Buha, ESPN.com, NBA editor, sports editor, well, NBA editor. Coming up next, right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show, here live on Spreaker. Tune in, and of course, One Mic with BigMike.com. Make sure you check out the live stream going on right now on the old Facebook page. I'm at One Mic with Big Mike on Facebook. Make sure you like that joint too.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Go Caleb! Come on, hit a homer, Jesse.
Let's go, guys.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who play sports earn more money when they grow up?
Of course. I knew that.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who read books have a bigger vocabulary?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Wow, jinx. Did you guys know that friendly children have more friends?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's true. I knew that. Did you guys know that winter babies are better at music?
Everyone knows that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
obvious.
Oh, hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Huh, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure I knew that.
I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
And now, back to One Mic.
What are we waiting for? Let's get to it.
With Big Mike.
Welcome back. Friday, right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Yeah, getting ready for the weekend. Don't forget the show is being heard live right now on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, as well as on TuneIn, and of course, One Mic with BigMike.com, the website. I got the live stream popping right now on Facebook, so going over to my Facebook page, at One Mic with Big Mike on Facebook, like that situation. Check out the One Mic with Big Mike Twitter feed as well, so you can answer the hashtag, put it on the poll questions. And right now, it is time to head out to the phone line so we can talk some basketball. Busy week, kind of, sort of, in basketball, and nobody better to do it with than my man from ESPN.com, Jovan Buha.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on.
What's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Look, man,
it's been a fun week in basketball.
Has it really? It's been fun. You can't be referring to the All-Star game when you say it's been fun, or the All-Star weekend in general, can you?
Nah, kind of everything else besides that.
No doubt. How long they gonna make us do that, Jovan? Like all sports, by the way. The All-Star situation is dead. I feel like these guys are making too much money. The risk isn't worth the reward, if there is any, to actually play the sport. Guys understand their bodies better. They understand resting and all these kind of things. To like make these guys go out there and try to simulate a basketball game or a football game, to me, is ridiculous at this point. How long do you think this lasts before somebody says, you know what, let's figure something else to do? Figure out something else to do.
I think the All-Star game will probably be around for a while, just because it, like you said, it's in every sport, and it's become a tradition thing. Like, now every time they do it, they say it's the 50 whatever All-Star game. So I don't think that's something that just goes away. I think it's obviously still important for different cities to host it, and it's a big revenue stream and whatnot. So I think it's still a big deal, and it's always going to be a big deal. But I do think they have to change the stakes because a few months ago I was randomly just on watching Hardwood Classics on NBA TV, and I think they were showing like the 2002 or 2003 All-Star game, and just watching it, like you could see there was such a difference. Even back then, where those guys took it more seriously, and like that's an actual thing. I think nowadays, a lot of the older players and former players kind of say, "Well, back in my day, it was like this, it was like that." I don't think it's always the case, but with the All-Star game, it was. You could see guys are driving down the lane and getting fouled, or at least being contested. And this year's All-Star game, you see someone drives down the lane, people get out of the way.
My man laid down
or whatever. Yeah, like. I mean, Steph Curry, that was incredible. Like I've never seen that before. I can't fathom that. Like, get out of the way, foul him, whatever. But to lay down, like that was just
right.
I can't understand that, man.
Yeah, they wasted my whole weekend. He's the NBA editor at ESPN.com. Follow him on Twitter, Instagram, all over social media at Jovan Buha. Spelt though Jovan Buha. You never told me last time, and I didn't ask. I forgot to ask last time. What's the Serbian gangster thing about?
Well, that's so I'm half Serbian. My dad's from Serbia, and I don't know if you remember, but Darko Milicic, the infamous number 2 pick in the 2003 draft, he was on the Pistons, and I think someone was asking Rasheed Wallace about him and like if he was a bust or whatever, and Rasheed was kind of like, I'm not going to really comment on his game, but all I know is that dude's a Serbian gangster. So that kind of always stuck with me, and I kind of put that in my Twitter profile. Since taking it out, I took it out a couple of months ago, but just because I don't want people to get the wrong impression. But that's a great line from Rasheed Wallace.
God, I hate stupid people. Like stupid people cost us so much awesome stuff because someone will take that the wrong way. Now you have to delete it from your Twitter. God, I hate stupid people.
Yeah.
Speaking of being stupid, great segue here. The Sacramento Kings.
Oh, God. I knew you were going with that.
Boogie's now in New Orleans. Here's what I thought of, dude. And the last time we talked about how this new collective bargaining agreement might start shaping the way people treated player movement from the ownership side in particular. And I thought about something. Like, if it was me and I was Boogie Cousins and I wanted $210 million, I want to say all the right things. Because I know about the philanthropic things that he did out in Sacramento. But as a guy that's painted in the light that he's painted in, I'd be like, yeah, I want to retire here. I want my legacy to be here. I want my jersey hanging from the rafters, which no one has ever said about Sacramento. But you do that and then get your money. And then you act a fool because everybody already expects it of you, and then force a trade where you still keep your money and you get to be somewhere else. It felt to me like maybe the Kings thought to themselves the same thing I was thinking. It was like, nah, let's get his ass out of here before we get stuck with a $200 million bill that we don't want to pay. How far-fetched do you think that is? Am I an idiot? Well, I know I'm an idiot, but for this, I mean.
No, I think you're right, and I think that's something that, we did talk about that last time, and we talked about how this new designated player exception in the new CBA is kind of meant to keep stars in small markets with their teams and kind of incentivize them to stay with their teams and say, hey, you could leave, but you're going to be leaving $30 to $50 million on the table potentially. So I think, but I think with the DeMarcus Cousins trade, we saw an unintended consequence from that, which is now, from the player's side, that kind of, puts them more on, okay, I want to stay with my team. But from the team side, that puts way more pressure on them because, instead of a maybe 120, 130, even $140 million contract, you're looking at, like you said, Cousins $210 million. That's a huge investment for a team, even a team like the Sacramento Kings, who has missed the playoffs for 10 straight seasons, really has no palpable future. So for them to say, we're going to make DeMarcus Cousins our franchise player for the next 5 years and basically, go the next half decade building around him, I think that kind of scared them. And I think ultimately it kind of forced them to trade Boogie for a package that they, probably weren't thrilled with.
What do you mean? They got the new Steph Curry. What do you mean they're not thrilled with it? They got the brand new Steph Curry.
Well, I think you could see potentially the same type of thing happening with a Jimmy Butler or a Paul George and guys kind of coming up in the future where a team looks at their roster, looks at the guy and says, hey, I don't think you're a top 5, top 7, whatever, caliber player. And if they don't think that they're, worthy of that $200 million, they might be forced to trade that guy because he's only going to sign there, re-sign in that situation if he's making max money. Because DeMarcus Cousins, I guarantee if DeMarcus Cousins was not getting that contract, he would want to be leaving and the Kings would want him to be staying.
First thing smoking.
But it ended up working the opposite way, where they were like, hell no, we're not going to pay him this much. And he was like, hell yes, I want to stay. But, ultimately, I think his agents kind of had something to do with that where, they didn't want him to be traded because then he loses out on all that money.
Absolutely.
So I think that they kind of scared the Pelicans out of offering more than they did, and that ended up actually costing the Kings in the end.
You mentioned Jimmy Butler. You mentioned Paul George. Kind of in a roundabout way, let's get to them by way of the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics is a team that everyone seems to be coveting and outside being envious of them. They got picks. They got players stashed overseas. They got a bunch of young assets. They got a bunch of malleability. But the trade deadline came and went, and they used none of it. The first thing I want to get from you, as a guy who's in, how really valuable is that potential top 3 pick that they have that they're sitting on from New Jersey, that Brooklyn Nets deal?
Might as well be New Jersey.
Yeah, who cares?
Probably those are better days for the Nets. It's very valuable. To be honest, it's probably the most valuable asset in the league right now that's movable. So obviously, like LeBron, Steph Curry, Durant, whatever, those guys you would take those guys over that pick. But in terms of actual tradable, movable assets,
but would you take Jimmy Butler over that pick? I guess is where I'm getting at. Is it a more valuable asset than a known commodity in Jimmy Butler?
In a vacuum, no, but there's more context to it because you're not just it's not just that pick for Jimmy Butler.
Right.
It's that pick, Jay Crowder, Marcus Smart
too,
or Jaylen Brown, potentially another player. So, if you're saying that pick for Jimmy Butler, you take Jimmy Butler. But once you start throwing in, giving up a young player you just drafted in the last couple of years, giving up another, people, Jay Crowder, he's been a fringe all-star the past couple of seasons, but the dude's making like $6.5 million for the next 3 years, each season. So he has a great contract.
Absolutely.
That's one of the most valuable non-star contracts in the league. So, giving up Jay Crowder isn't just giving up, you're giving up a very good player on a very cheap deal. So it's tough because, in my opinion, I think the Celtics should have pulled the trigger. I think, Cleveland's looking as weak as they've looked in the last 3 years. J.R. Smith's still out. Kevin Love is going to be out until end of March. I think it's going to be hard for them to gel before the playoffs. They have the championship experience. They have enough talent where it probably doesn't matter, but they are vulnerable. They are the most vulnerable they've been in the LeBron era, the second time. So if I'm Boston and I could get Jimmy Butler or Paul George, I do think that puts you, probably not on Cleveland's level, but pretty damn close. And I think that's at least a 6 or 7 game series there. So I think you have to pull the trigger because I think the downside is they could end up kind of playing themselves where, sure, you keep, you get your pick next year, but they're not in win now mode, but they're pretty close because, Isaiah Thomas, I think, is like 27, Al Horford 31.
Right.
Their core is in their mid to late 20s. So they're in that kind of sweet spot. But if you draft a rookie who's 2, 3, 4 years away from really being a good, impactful player, that kind of timeline doesn't really match up. So sure, you could get your 2017, number 1 pick and 2018 number 3 pick, but what does that really do for you in the long run? This is a team that is kind of built to win over the next few years, and I think adding Paul George or Jimmy Butler fits with that timeline, and you're kind of getting those guys in their prime years, and maybe they get them over the summer, but you're kind of wasting the rest of this season because as constructed, I think Boston's probably the 3rd best team in the East now that Toronto added Ibaka and Tucker. So I don't know how it's going to play out. I kind of can see it from both sides, but I do think Boston could potentially end up playing themselves by not using any of these assets.
I felt the same way. Talking right now with Jovan Buha of ESPN.com. Follow him on Twitter and all across social media at Jovan Buha, JOVANBUHA. I want to ask you about exactly what you're talking about. The top of the East. You mentioned Boston. You feel like being the third. I'm assuming you mean, well, not assuming, you mentioned Toronto because now they have PJ and now they have Serge Ibaka. They did some work at the trade deadline. I think everyone is doing their business with LeBron and the Cleveland Cavaliers in mind. Even that Washington squad that started off very slowly at the beginning of the season, they turned it on a little bit. John Wall's playing awesome basketball. He and Brad Beal have seemed to have gotten it together after this summer when everyone was talking about how they couldn't get along and whatnot. Has that half of the East gotten to the point where you wouldn't necessarily be surprised if the Cavs didn't repeat as Eastern Conference champions?
I still think the Cavs should be favored and heavily favored because I think we have enough of a sample size now where LeBron James, I mean, the dude is he's amazing. You know, he's already in that top 5, top 3 conversation.
Well, not if you ask Charles Barkley.
Well, yeah, it depends who you ask. But like us rational people.
Right. What an idiot.
So to that point, like I just think LeBron is too good, and we've seen, heck, he almost beat the Warriors without Kyrie and Kevin Love 2 years ago.
Right.
So that he took 2 games from them basically by himself. So I would say until proven otherwise, everything goes through Cleveland and LeBron. I think we also have a sample size now where the Toronto Raptors have kind of underperformed the last 2 playoffs. I know they made the Eastern Conference Finals last year, but they almost lost to the Pacers and the Heat, 2 teams with clearly less talent than them. It took them to 7 games. So I would say Lowry and DeRozan don't play as well in the playoffs traditionally. Ibaka, while it was a nice addition, he has kind of fallen off in the past couple of years. Boston, I think you can kind of say the same thing with Isaiah Thomas. He hasn't been as effective in the playoffs the past couple of years. So until those teams prove it, I think everything goes through Cleveland. I'll say I think it's a deeper crop than it has been the past couple of years. So I do think, like you said, now Washington's the hottest team in the East right now. Boston obviously is the 2 seed and almost catching Cleveland. Toronto made some moves, so I do think it's as deep as the East has been over the past few years. But I don't think any team clearly has enough talent to compete with Cleveland if healthy. If Kyrie is injured or Kevin Love's injured, I think it's a conversation, but unless that happens, I think Cleveland, is clearly the favorite.
How does Mozgov? I'm anticipating them picking up Mozgov and Darren Williams. How do those 2 guys fit into that equation as far as what you see? How do you see them blending in with the Cavaliers team?
Well, I think you mean Bogut, right?
I'm sorry. What did I say?
I said Mozgov.
I said Timothy Mozgov. Yes, Andrew Bogut. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But the Lakers would love that if someone would take Mozgov.
Right. Him and Luol Deng.
I think Darren Williams is actually that's a huge pickup. Like
really?
To be honest, that might even swing my finals pick.
Wow.
As crazy as that sounds, like Darren Williams, he's no longer Utah Darren Williams. He's not even Brooklyn Darren Williams, but the dude is quietly kind of bounced back, and he's an effective, lower tier starter. But as a backup, 15, 20 minutes a night.
True.
I mean, he's still been putting up 13, 14, 15, and 5 or 6. Like he's been playing well. I think it addresses that backup, playmaking need that LeBron has been complaining about all season. And Bogut, I mean, I think he's fallen off this season, but it's kind of a nice troll job at the Warriors. And look, the Cavs, they're not that deep up front. It's Love, it's Thompson, it's Fry, and after that there isn't much. So I think Bogut in a small role would be nice, and they add both those guys. I honestly that might swing the championship conversation for me to slightly favoring Cleveland.
Wow, didn't see it that way. I don't understand now. I thought I did, and I think everyone thought they did understand what the 76ers were doing because everybody I think got swept up in the whole trust the process situation. But now, what the hell is the process? I thought if anyone was moving, it's going to be Jahlil Okafor. I heard Chicago was in the mix for that. I didn't think it was Joel Embiid. I'm not Joel Embiid. I'm sorry. I knew it wasn't going to be him. What's the kid's name? Nerlens Noel. I didn't think it was going to be him, partly because of his relationship with Joel Embiid. And I thought, like, out of the three dudes, the least athletic of them would be the guy they tried to move on from and get some backcourt help. But now it seems weird, with Embiid being hurt. They seem to be back to the middle of the process again. What do you see out of this 76ers squad, or where do you see them going?
Well, I think in the big picture, you're looking at this team and you're saying, okay.
I forgot about Ben Simmons being out for the whole year too.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I was looking forward to seeing him
Me
play.
too.
Hopefully, so I think looking at macro, they have they're going to have a top pick this year. They have Joel Embiid, who's granted he could eventually stay healthy. He's a legitimate franchise center. The dude is so good. Ben Simmons, I saw him in summer league. There's some mixed opinions on him, but I think personally he's going to be good. Somewhere in between like Draymond and I don't want to say LeBron because I don't think he's anywhere near as gifted offensively, like scoring, but he kind of is that point forward role, but kind of
big kid
better than Draymond in that respect. But look, Jahlil Okafor and Nerlens Noel probably weren't going to be there long term. Okafor clearly not, just because I don't think he fits next to Embiid or Simmons. Noel, I think you could kind of see how he would fit, but I think he was unhappy with the situation. They just have so many bigs. They still have Saric, they have Rashawn Holmes, who no one ever really talks about, but he's a very, very good big man. And he was kind of like their fourth string center. So I think they might be looking at him as a cheap backup. But I think what this says more is about the market, where the Nets were trying to move Brook Lopez, the Magic were trying to move Nikola Vucevic, the Sixers are trying to move Jahlil Okafor. All these dudes are slow, plodding, offensive big, can't defend anybody. None of those guys got moved because no one wants those big men. So I think this more speaks to the Sixers couldn't move Okafor, and I think they just kind of wanted to make a move. They felt this was the right time to move Noel because he's going to be up for he's going to be a restricted free agent, a contract extension soon. So I think they were like, look, we could get Justin Anderson, who's a nice, cheap young wing, a couple second rounders. It's not I wouldn't say it's a great trade. I think Dallas kind of stole from them. But I think at this point they just kind of wanted to do something, and Okafor wasn't going to get moved.
Couple minutes left here with my man Jovan Buha. Love talking ball with him from ESPN.com. Make sure you guys are following him on social media at JOVANBUHA. I wanted to talk about the Warriors, but I don't want to run out of time before I get to this Magic Johnson situation, because I think it's outstandingly ridiculous that people either feel like they have to be on one side of the fence or the other. I'm sure you got all the stuff about with Magic Johnson and with Dan Le Batard and Keyshawn and LZ Granderson and who was it, Michael Thompson, all these cats. Like, I have a very huge issue with people just seeing a name that they recognize and say, yeah, I want that guy to be blank, without actually putting any cognitive thought into it. Like, Dan Le Batard made the point that, okay, Magic Johnson's going to be the president of this team. He's going to be the Phil Jackson of this team, to give some context. Why? Because he was great at playing point guard, because he owns a bunch of Starbucks, because he's a minority owner in the Dodgers. Like, what makes you think that he's going to work, other than the fact that he's Magic? And I brought this up in the last segment. My man did beat AIDS, so that's a thing. Like, to me, that's at the top of the resume. But for you, a guy who's out there, I see your social media, you're out there at the Lakers practice. Like, how do you perceive this move? Not necessarily whether you think he'll fail or succeed, because I don't do predictions on my show, but as far as being an NBA executive, you're around those guys. What is that job, one, and what are your thoughts on Magic Johnson being just catapulted into that position?
Well, it's such a complicated situation. I think with our jobs, we obviously try to simplify things and kind of explain them to people and explain them to fans and kind of have intelligent dialogue. But I think this situation is just so multi-dimensional, and there's just so many factors at play, because above all else, I think there clearly was a rift within, Genie and Jim Buss.
Right.
There's been stories about them over the last few years, like, not really talking, and they don't have the best relationship, and it's kind of awkward, and Dr. Jerry Buss's, dying wish basically was for his son to run the team, and I think Genie wanted to honor that, but the last 4 years of Lakers basketball have been the worst in franchise history.
At it.
And I think it kind of got to the point where something clearly had to be done. Now, bringing in Magic Johson, I think it follows the typical Lakers. I mean, everything with the Lakers is flash and honoring the past.
Yeah, that dude said the first thing he said was, "I want to bring in Kobe." Why?
Yeah,
for what?
So that's the Lakers' MO. For better or worse, clearly it's been for worse lately. That's kind of how they do business. It's all about making splashy headlines, honoring, whether it's bringing Byron Scott in as the coach, whether it's bringing back Phil Jackson, which they did, and then they were trying to do a third time. And even Mitch Kupchak was a player. He was on those '80s Showtime teams in the '70s and stuff with them. So Mitch Kupchak was a former player. They brought in Jerry West as the general manager. So this is how the Lakers have operated for the last 40 years, basically. So this isn't necessarily surprising. I thought the only surprising part was how quickly everything took off.
Right.
So it was like he was brought in, and then it was like, okay, probably maybe summer after the season, he's gonna maybe be elevated to president or whatever, and they're gonna kind of clean house. But that was all within a couple of weeks.
Right, immediately.
So yeah, it was surprising, but I would say it didn't surprise me just in kind of a macro sense that they elevated him, just because, like I said, that's what the Lakers do.
Mm-hmm.
I thought bringing in Rob Pelinka was a little bit surprising. And that kind of happened quickly too. But I think, to be honest, the Lakers' first two moves have actually kind of been solid under Magic. I think the Lou Williams trade was good value.
Yeah, Corey Brewer's in the house.
What they could have gone for him. And the Tyler Ennis move, while very, very, basically, inconsequential, they flipped Huertas for, a guy who's also an expiring contract and is, worth a gamble at 22 years old. And in worst case, he sucks and, they get rid of him.
Right.
But I think that's the type of smart moves the Lakers have traditionally not made over the past few years. And I think that, thus far the Magic tenure is off to a fine start, but I guess we'll see how it plays out.
Well, at least one president starting off good in America. Before I let you go, I'm gonna pull you in on one of my poll questions, because I don't have really a lot of time to get into the conversation about how awesome the Warriors are, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's gonna take time for them to gel." Yeah, 2 weeks. Let's go. And but the poll question, my hashtag, put it on the poll question, brought to us by Sports News and Brews, question is, fill in the blank. Draymond's comments to Paul Pierce were either uncalled for or right on point. Either one extent or the other. Or your answers, or your options, I should say. Come on, you cover the Clippers. Jovan.
I would say right on point.
Exactly, they are.
I think it's fascinating because that they have some history there, because Draymond kind of fired back at him earlier in the season when in an earlier interview. I think it was right after he announced his retirement. Paul kind of spoke on the KD situation and said he would never do something like that, and was kind of downplaying the whole super team thing. And then, Draymond kind of fired back at him with no one cares what you have to say, or something along those lines. I think there's some curse words somewhere in there.
I love that guy, man.
But I think it was kind of uncalled for, just because I don't know what point Draymond's kind of trying to prove at this point. Like, you're dissing a 38-year-old player who's in his last season and is kind of done. And for what it's worth, I mean, Paul Pierce is a great player.
Oh yeah,
Paul Pierce, he won a championship, Finals MVP. Like, Draymond Green will be lucky to have the career Paul Pierce had.
Absolutely.
So I think in that regard, he's kind of stepping out of line, I feel like, a little bit. But I mean, he is right in what he was saying. I can't really disagree with him there.
Oh, man. That's one of the most awesome things I've seen this week, man. Jovan, I always appreciate talking ball with you, man. We'll do it again pretty soon, my man. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
My man, Jovan Buha, ESPN.com. ESPN.com NBA editor, man. Draymond says, you ain't Kobe. I love petty crap, man. Especially and I love how he didn't wait until they were getting blown out. I'll talk about a little bit more about the game here in just a second after the break. I love how he didn't wait till they was getting blown out, until the Clippers were getting blown out. Like he probably knew that was going to happen. He waited till he was on the free throw line. It was 1-0, and Draymond was like, "Yep, the clip is loaded. Time to bust off." Blah, da, da, blah, blah. Paul Pierce came back, was like, "Oh yeah, you guys gave up a 3-1 lead." Whatever. They already got a championship in the bag. He got the same amount of rings as you got, beat, in like 10 more years to play ball. So there's that. Oh man. Anyway, I'll come back. I'll finish up this Magic Johson thing. Also, I want to get on this day out of the way. So I'll finish up talking about Magic Johson. We'll move on to some of the other NBA things. I got on the docket this WNBA situation. I got more on Draymond. And what else do I have? Oh, the NFL Combine stuff still to come here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Heard live on Spreaker.com. The app, tune in, OneMicWithBigMike.com every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. I'll be right back.
Well, I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel? Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go.
One Mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One Mic with Big Mike.
You know, ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One Mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Friday, right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show, getting ready for the weekend. Hope everybody had a decent week, man. I did. It's productive. Shout out to my man, Jovan Buha, once again joined me last segment. Shout out to also Craig Sager, the second, who joined me on Monday. The interview was cool. It's a cool interview on Monday. If you want to go to onemicwithbigmike.com or, of course, the Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app, download that. You can check out the interview I did with Craig Sager, the second son of Broadcasting Hall of Famer Craig Sager. You can also catch the show live on all 4 of those outlets. Or did I mention the outlets? Spreaker, the app, tune in, and OneMicWithBigMike.com. You can also Get the show on demand on all of those platforms, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and of course YouTube. The live stream is going on right now on the old Facebook page, which is One Mic with Big Mike on Facebook. And make sure you head on over to my Twitter and answer the hashtag. Put it on the poll questions at One Mic with Big Mike. To get involved in the show, just text me at 404-902-8104. You can also jump inside the live interactive chat room here on Spreaker. Just click on that little thought bubble icon you see on the streaming player to get you right up in the building. Or you can just drop your comments below the live streaming video here on Facebook. Shout out to my man Reggie. I don't know if I spoke, man. Reggie, what's up, dog? My man Reggie helping me out with the show. New partnership. It's like Boogie and the Brow. You know what I'm saying? We got to get our chemistry together, but it should be a harmonious thing that's going on here, man. And also the other bad guy that associates himself with this show, I am no dose. Leave my guy alone, man. Leave my man Jovan alone, man. I like talking basketball with him because not many people can be as concise and as informative as the homie when it comes to that subject. So anyway, time to take a look back. It's something I do each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on the old One Mic with Big Mike show.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
All right, here we go. I guess I need to pull it up. On this day in 1980, the USA Olympic hockey team beats Finland 4-2 and wins the gold medal. That's not the biggest. Oh, God, you're such a terrible individual. The USA Olympic hockey team beats Finland 4-2 and wins the gold medal. This is the game after the Do You Believe in Miracles game. They beat the Russians, who apparently now your president, Agent Orange, loves. So, yeah, it was a big deal then. They had to play another game after that, though, to win the gold, and that was against Finland. On this day in 1982, more hockey. See, I got my hockey hat on today. If you're watching on Facebook Live, I got my old school Atlanta Flames hat on. Shout out to the old hockey team. We lost 2 hockey teams here in the A. This damn city couldn't support hockey for nothing. Wayne Gretzky, the great one of the Edmonton Oilers, scores his 77th goal of the NHL season, breaking his previous record of 76. He also was the first to get 100 goals in a season that same year. On this day in 1985, Amy Alcott wins the LPGA Circle K Golf Open in Tuscan. On this day in 1985 as well, Jim Kelly, Machine Gun Kelly, this of the Houston team in the USFL, though. Yeah, Jim Kelly played in the USFL before he turned into a Buffalo Bill. He passes for a pro football record at the time, 574 yards. The great Lou Alcindor, a.k.a. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, scored his 36,000th NBA point on this day in 1987. He also hit his first, I think his only, three-pointer ever in that game. And then finally on this day in 2017, today, Bernie Custis died at the age of 88. Some of you may be saying, Mike, who the hell is Bernie Custis? I need some context. Who is this guy? I'll tell you who Bernie Custis is if you give me like 2 damn seconds here. Bernie Custis is the first black. This is Black History too. Hashtag Black History. The first ever pro football black quarterback, or black pro football quarterback, however you want to phrase it. He was drafted by the Cleveland Browns after going to Syracuse. Syracuse pumped out a bunch of cats, like good black cats, like historical black cats. Jim Brown. Who was the other cat? Ernie somebody. The kid that got drafted after Jim Brown that was supposed to be better than him, but he ended up dying because he had like cancer or something. And then now, you're hearing about Bernie Custis. But anyway, in true historical fashion, he never played for the Browns because they wanted him to play safety. Oh, boy. Remember those days? What? He can run, but he can play quarter. What? No, he can run? Put his ass at corner. Put his ass at safety. Oh, he can run, huh? Can he take a handoff? His ass ain't playing no quarterback around here. And so my man Bernie Custis, man, he 1951 got caught up in that and took his ass to the CFL. And he started as a quarterback from 1948 to 1950 at Syracuse, as I already mentioned. He was the roommate of Al Davis. Like, people don't understand this thing about Al Davis, and I can't really figure it out myself either. Whether it was a power play for Al to keep people kind of in a subservient role to him, or if he was just genuinely a dude that was about inclusiveness, because he hired like the first woman, to work for the Raiders. I think she was also Hispanic. He had like a hell of black coaches. Like Art Shell coached for the Raiders like 52 times. Gene Upshaw, who played for the Raiders, ended up being the president of the Players Association. Like, Al Davis was really at the forefront of a lot of these situations racially. And now I think I am a little bit more clear on it, because now seeing that in college he was a roommate with a black dude. Like, in 1950, you ain't have to if you ain't want to. Trust that. So shout out to Al Davis, man, the late great Al Davis, former owner of the LA/Oakland Raiders. Yeah, but that's it. He died today. He spent his last years as a teacher, or his retirement years, I should say, as a teacher and in coaching football up there in Hamilton in Canada. Yeah, my man. Yeah, he went up there and found freedom and never came back. I ain't mad at you. Like, that Harriet Tubman stuff is overrated. Yeah, there's no way I'm coming back, B. You get me the freedom? Yeah, I'm gonna holler at the rest of them cats later. That's just real. Like, that whole leaving and going back to get your ass shot off. See, that's the story they tell. The one of Harriet Tubman continue to go back and forth. Yeah, they ain't tell the ones of all the cats that didn't make it back. They're like, man, we saw freedom. We got to go back and get so-and-so. And then they ass didn't come back. That'd have been me. I'm sorry. Good thing I was born in 1977. At least this era of whatever you call it, injustice, ain't that. God, I don't know. Your man might be seeing that as a challenge to take me back to that. So anyway, I already played you guys the Keyshawn Johnson sound, and I wanted to go ahead and kind of address that as well. That there's this thing that happens with black people, that you feel like as soon as someone who you perceive to be white, Dan Le Batard, by the way, is Cuban, not a white man, with any criticism over someone that you feel like is a hero or whatever. That's what happened to Donald Sterling. Like when you look at it for what it is, like, Donald Sterling didn't want his side broad banging Magic Johnson and Matt Kemp. You know what I mean? Like, he's an awful dude, but he was an awful dude the whole time he owned the damn Clippers. The whole time. So when dudes start talking about Doc Rivers and Chris Paul, I just won't play. I just won't coach. You a lie. You felt all right taking that dude checks all this time. But now all of a sudden there's a tape of him saying, I don't want you letting Magic Johnson into your goodie parts, or Matt Kemp into your goodie parts. And there's a problem? Like, that with even the racist stuff. When you read Donald Sterling's history and the things that the racist stuff and the things he did to like handicap people, the slumlording he did, like, that was the bad guy stuff. Just saying that I don't want Magic Johnson banging my side broad, like, I don't have a side broad, but I don't want Magic Johnson banging her either. And it ain't got nothing to do with the AIDS, by the way, because, like I said, Magic Johnson beat AIDS. It got nothing to do with that, but he's Magic, and I'm me. Let's keep it real. If you're Donald Sterling, your billions of dollars don't mean nothing. That's Magic. You know what I'm saying? That's Magic Johnson. He beat AIDS. So apparently, no one can say anything about Magic Johnson without people like Keyshawn and LG Grandison. Let me finish this up. I tell you, one of his old teammates called in to the show because the other dude, George Sedano, he was defending Le Batard. He's like, no, this dude ain't no damn racist, man. Like, he don't rock like that. You know what I mean? Keyshawn's already, I'm just gonna read between the lines. There are no lines to read between. Like, while one dude is doing a rational radio show, you're doing the yelly, screamy guy. Listen to me. Listen to how mad I can get, and then scream racism to get some relativity to it. Like, your friend racism is always, when somebody needs to be relative again, that's always a convenient one to pull out your back pocket, ain't it? Racism. White man talking about black man. Must be racism. No. You just heard my homie, the Serbian gangster, just tell us, look, man, this is all a form of some sort of Laker nepotism. That if you played here, we got a place for you. Come on in here, Kurt Brambis. Coach this team. Magic, you want to try it? Sure, let's go. Byron Scott, you suck, but come on in. Yeah. And you got Magic trying to suck Kobe back in. Kobe just left. All of a sudden, you know what I want to do? I want to bring Kobe back in because Magic thinks that everything's going to boil down to a popularity situation. And the fact of the matter is, like, I don't necessarily know that these kids give a damn that much. Like, I know guys like Charles Barkley and Magic and all these cats want to believe that there's this huge amount of reverence for who they were at one point. There's a few guys, you know, but no, I didn't say that. I was gonna say LeBron, but even LeBron, like at some point, he was like, Charles, you shut your ass up, and Dwayne Wade hopped in it too. Boogie, all these dudes that are great players now, I don't know if they necessarily care because they understand that you're not talking about the game that they're playing right now. You played the game, speaking of Magic and Charles and all these guys, as employees, right? These guys understand Melo and these dudes. There's a reason Melo would put a thing in his contract like a no trade clause. There's a reason he put that in there because he realized that he can be the boss of himself and dictate his further movements throughout his career. LeBron understands I can dictate my movements. Kevin Durant realizes that I can dictate where I go, where I go play, and where I make my money, where I win my championships or my potential championships. Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, they know that life. So why should these guys listen to them? Why should someone say, well, Magic's the damn GM now, or he's the president now, I'm definitely going to go play in L.A. For what? You ain't going to get no more TV time. Everybody's on TV. If you want to cut a commercial, hop your ass on the plane. LeBron on more commercials than anybody. Peyton Manning was on more commercials than anybody. Cleveland, Indianapolis. Don't matter no more. You don't have to live in L.A. to get that L.A. money. Russell Westbrook, he's in OKC. And every time you turn on your television, guess who's on your television? None of that stuff really matters no more, man. Like, things need to be together. Now, this could be a the Magic Johnson thing is a great Band-Aid to make it look like, yeah, changes are coming. But if it falls into the place of, oh man, guess what? I've never done this before. And I got a GM who I'm hiring that's never done this before, who only wants to do it, but has never done it before. And things don't improve and you don't turn the corner. Yeah, you got Corey Brewer back for Lou Williams. Straight up. Oh, by the way, anybody paying attention to what's going on in Houston? I didn't even talk about the Western Conference with my man last segment. That Houston squad is going to be nicely scary when playoff time comes, if they hitting shots, of course. You know what I mean? I know that sounds like one of those obvious Magic Johnson type things, you know. What did Magic tweet? Magic tweet, that Warriors team is tough to beat when Clay and Steph are hitting shots. This after, by the way, they've won 73 games. That's the man. That's your man who Keyshawn is defending. What do you mean? ESPN moved out to L.A. because of Magic. Stop it. Come on, B, you need more people. Nobody believes that. Because of Magic Johnson? When Jalen does a much better job than him. Chauncey does all right, I mean, I guess. You know what I mean? You don't need Magic on there. They had like Magic and Bill Simmons and Will Bond and these cats up there. Like 50 dudes on the desk. And the ESPN realized, nah, that's kind of clumpy. And Magic don't know what the hell he's talking about half the time. And no one knows what the hell Magic's talking about half the time. Yeah. Just because someone can come and go as they please, because Magic has a lot of influence, he has a lot of power, and again, he's very charismatic. And anybody who I know that's met the dude or spoken to him, likes him a lot. And again, he beat AIDS. Like, that should top off everybody's list when they start talking about Magic Johnson. Damn the assist, damn the Rookie of the Year, the NBA championships, all that stuff, whatever. That dude Magic is probably healthier than I am right now, and I'm not even exaggerating. I'm being 100, man. That dude is probably healthier than me. And if you were alive when that dude made that announcement, I have to retire from the NBA because of the HIV virus that I have contracted, when he said all that, you can't tell me the first thing that went through your mind was, man, Magic got the AIDS. He about to die. That's what everybody thought. Magic about to die. Here we are, 1.5 million years later, Magic is strong as a damn ox. Yeah, shout to that. So, I mean, I don't know what the qualifications have to be. I've heard a lot of people talk about what the qualifications need to be, the day-to-days that go into being like a GM or a president and all these kind of things. I've heard these things. I'm not sure if Magic's going to want to do all of them. Like Phil, right? Phil showed up and was like, damn, you mean it's work? Like, really? I got to deal with these players too. Damn it, man. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, could end up wearing on somebody because the newness. You know how it is. Get a new job. The newness is there at first, and, you know, everything's all good. Everything's all good just a week ago. Then you got to do some damn work. And then the work is stupid, and the people you're working with are even dumber. And then now you hate it. 3 weeks in, you hate it. Just keep that in mind, man. You know what I mean? Before a name, and I'm so used to it here in Atlanta. Before a name gets said, and it's like, yes, I know that name. O.C. Umenyiora, Steven Jackson. They're awesome. No, they weren't. They were washed up, both of them. But people threw parties here. Welcome home, O.C. He's from Africa. Yeah, he has a house here. Everybody does. He's from Africa. Miss me with that, man. Just like let it play out. And like the Dan Le Batard thing, he don't need me. He don't need my defense or anything like that. But, you know, for someone who, you know, I try to watch people. I try to watch people like him, Cowherd, and Patrick. I don't care what they're saying, how they're presenting it. You know, the things that make their show tick, kind of like the inner workings of their show. For as much as I can see it, his situation is the best because it seems like it's chaotic and free flowing. But I know that show. I know that style of show. I've produced that style of show, and it's one of the best experiences to work on. But also, you know, you got to be careful. You know, you got to have the right person at the helm. And at the time we did, the right person at the helm that can properly articulate the thoughts that he wants to portray to people so that, like in this case, they're not misconstrued. This was only misconstrued because people took a 30-second clip and ran with it. And all they heard was a white dude talking about a black dude that everybody likes. Anyway, excuse me. Moving on. I talked about the Jimmy Butler situation with my man Jovan. Charles Oakley, did y'all see this? Charles Oakley found him a new white man, Dan Gilbert. When Draymond started talking about slave owners and slave owner mentality, the slave ownerist dude of the world, is that a thing? It is now. The same dude that wrote the letter to LeBron and how he's a backstabber and betrayer and all these kind of things, and I'll win a championship before you, all this bad stuff. Yep, Charles Oakley found his man. Funny how that works, right? Like as though one is better than the other. They all these rich white billionaires, man. They don't care about that dude. Don't care no more about Charles Oakley than Charles Oakley care about the ant that he stepped on walking into the stadium. But the optics, right? I'm glad. Who was that? Was it Chris Webber? I'm so glad that Charles Oakley, that Dan Gilbert is extending his hands to Charles Oakley. Whatever, man. Charles Oakley got loot. He can pay for them tickets if he want to. I hope he got loot still left over. He played hella years in the league. This whole like pick me up, white man, help me out. Come on, man. I understand, you know, Charles want to stay relevant, and it's cool for him to be that because he hasn't been, and people are saying his name and chanting his name and tweeting about him and all that kind of stuff. But in reality, it's what I was talking about earlier, man. Make your own. Like, eventually, man, like one of these dudes that we seeing play right now, they're going to own one of these teams, a couple of them. It ain't going to just be Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan bought his team from another black dude. One of these black kids, LeBron, Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, one of these dudes, man, they're going to be majority owners in their own squad, man. And it's coming soon. Feel me? Sooner than you think. I want to get to this Candace Wiggins thing before I just wrap up all the basketball stuff. I got a couple minutes left in the segment. I can get this out here. So anyway, Candace Wiggins. I did not know who this was until yesterday. This popped up on my Twitter, and I was like, let's see what this is all about. It said something about being bullied in the WNBA, and I was like, all right, let's see what this is. Apparently, this chick was pretty good. She retired after a few years in the league. Initially, what she said was that her body was hurting. A lot of people don't understand though. These girls, these young ladies, they play year-round basketball. You know, they take their ass overseas so they can make their bread because, of course, they're not making the money that's being made by the guys. So she's out doing her thing, and then eventually she retires. After 8 years, she was drafted like number 4 overall or something like that. And now this week she's speaking to a San Diego news outlet, and she said that the real reason because of the environment. It was a bunch of bullying. And check this out, she was being bullied because she was heterosexual. When and ever have you heard that being spewed? Oh man, they couldn't get in there. They were all on my case because I like the penis. Not so much, I guess, in the WNBA. According to her, she says that in her estimation, 98% of the WNBA is lesbian. I should have put that on the poll. Yeah, like what percentage is like realistic? Because like, dude, 98? That's a lot, dude. Like in any other context, when you say 98, that's an A plus, man. That's almost as high as you can go. That's almost everybody. Basically, it sounds like what she's saying is like everybody but me was all about the vagina. I was the only one that loved penis. That ain't true. Like bras is getting well. See, that's the other thing. I can't really do that either. I can't put that into the same box because like bras is getting pregnant. Like Brittany Griner's old lady or her former old lady, she got pregnant, but they did like the in vitro situation. Cheryl Swoops, she got pregnant. See, this is why. Like women have this advantage to them. I guess I don't call it an advantage, but it's like women can be bisexual. But with a dude, I think it's like, yeah, grand opening, grand closing. It's only like you got like a coin. You got like two sides of the coin you can fall on, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care. But, you know, with women, it's like a different thing. Because, like, I don't know what to call that. If you have a baby, does that make you bisexual? Maybe you had a baby because in the case of Brittany Griner, I'm actually thinking this out while I'm speaking to y'all. Like, she married a woman and didn't have sex with a dude. But I think now she's with a dude. Anyway, Shawty said the whole NBA, the whole WNBA is a lesbian. And 98% is her number. That seems high to me. In like in any really any situation, that seems high to me. If you ever got your oxygen taken, you know, go to the doctor and they hook you up and do your blood pressure and your oxygen and all that. Like very rarely is your oxygen like 100%. Like 98% is probably as good as you're gonna get with your oxygen. So to say like a 98% ratio of lesbian women to straight women in the WNBA, yeah, that's like out of whack. Like to society, that's out of whack. I should have put that on the poll. What percentage do you think? What percentage y'all think, Reggie? I am no those. What percentage of women in the WNBA are lesbian? I'll take your answers after the break. This is the One Mike with Big Mike show. I'm here. Spreaker.com. Also the Spreaker app. Tune in and OneMikeWithBigMike.com. The show can also be heard on demand on all 4 of those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. And make sure you check out the live stream going on right now on the old Facebook. OneMikeWithBigMike.com is the Facebook page. I shall return.
I only have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mike with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mike with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms. And your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at OneMikeWithBigMike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape? You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel? Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go!
All my boys, all my young boys, stand up, man. The ladies sit down, sit down. But all my boys, stand up, stand up. We strong, right? We strong, right? Okay, all my boys, just tell me one time. I can do anything I put my mind to. A lot of boys don't supposed to be soft-spoken. No. You know what I'm saying? One day y'all gonna have to get very deep voice like this. Right now y'all talking like this, but one day y'all gonna have a very, very deep voice. But the ladies, they supposed to be silent, polite, gentle. But my men supposed to be strong. Okay, so I want y'all to tell me what the third rule of life is. I can do anything I put my mind to. Scream it.
No, you can't. You can't do that. That dude is so damn country. He's like a double syrup sandwich, man. He's country as hell. And it cost him every time, man. Almost every time he opened his mouth, man. That was Jameis Winston yesterday, speaking to a bunch of elementary school kids. And, yeah, you heard right. He said girls are supposed to be quiet and whatever, soft-spoken or whatever. And men aren't supposed to be soft-spoken. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show. Spreaker.com. The app, tune in, onemicwithbigmike.com is where I'm being heard. Make sure you guys sign up for your free Spreaker accounts and follow me on Spreaker, SPREAKER.com. It's very simple and very easy. You get an alert every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when the show goes live at 7 o'clock. So, yeah, my dog, Jameis Winston, when he was coming out of school, I said this about him, and I maintain this to be the absolute positive truth when it comes to this young man, that he has that kind of like backwoods, just country confidence that he thinks when he feels, honestly, I feel that when he walks into a room, he thinks that everyone sees him the same way he sees himself. And he acts that way towards everyone. He acts as boisterous, as confident, as just himself in every instance. Cameras around, he don't care. He just do what he do. He'll learn. I think people made a big deal over what he said in that clip when he said girls are supposed to. But if you guys, I mean, if you listen to my show, you know enough country ass dudes that know he's not saying it as though that's what you should do. That's what they should do. What he wanted to say, if he could have articulated himself properly, is that's what's expected of little girls. You know, I don't know that's necessarily better, but it sounds better than him telling a room full of young ladies, you just shut your ass up and make babies and cook cookies and make sandwiches. You know what I mean? It sounds better than him saying this is what is expected of you. And his point in trying to uplift the young men in the room kind of gets diluted and washed away, even into the point where, and I heard this said today, this is not me, because I didn't think about this until I heard it, to the point where he says, he talks about men being soft-spoken. Believe it or not, I consider myself to be soft-spoken. I don't, like, it's one of those funny things about me, like, ever since I've been in radio, since 2001, this is, I talk into a microphone. But if you want to sit down and have a conversation with me, usually the conversation I have are very, like, low-key, very sublime conversations. It's not really a lot of this, you know what I mean? Like, even when I'm talking to my wife, you know, like, she falls out laughing over the dumb stuff I say. And, you know, because, you know, she's supposed to. She loved me. You know what I mean? Like, that's how she shows she loved me, instead of being like, you know what, baby, you lame as hell. You know, which is probably what's going on in the back of her mind. But, whatever. But the whole concept that, you know, guys can't be soft-spoken, or guys can't be the guys just have to be him, you know, boisterous and all out there. That is kind of ridiculous, but no way do I blame him. And this whole thing about him everybody needs to apologize for everything. Nah, he said it. Maybe clarifying what he really tried to say or what his point was. But yeah, apologizing, I'm good on that. Whatever, And it's one of those things. I remember when the Adrian Peterson thing came out about the thing with his son, the abuse charges he got from him whooping his son with that switch. And I remember talking about this with my former co-host, Rob Calloway, is that it was just one of those things to me that people who look like me act like they get on TV. These white people put them on TV and put them on radio, and they act like they have no frame of reference to what that is, to getting your ass towed up with a switch or something. You know what I mean? Like in the day, it was like, or something. I remember a dude that grew up with us across the street. He got his ass whooped with a fan belt off of a car, B. And like, it's funny. Well, it was funny then too. It's not. It was funny then. I don't even believe that like we even understood like child abuse. He got his ass. Well, we out there playing basketball in the backyard, in his backyard. It was like the family in the neighborhood, the black neighborhood, where like everybody lives in this one house, like generations, grandma, auntie, cousins. To put it in perspective, perfect way to put it into perspective. The dude I'm talking about, he was my homeboy's uncle, but he was 2 years younger than my homeboy. Like that's the ghetto stuff I'm talking about, man. Like that. So we hear this dude getting woe out, right? A couple minutes later, we still out there playing 21 or whatever, horse or whatever we was playing. He come back out, eyes just fire red, right? Trying to act like ain't nothing happened. It's like, dude, we heard all that going on. And like later on, like the next day at school or whatever, we found out it was a fan belt she tore his ass up with. Yeah, it wasn't no brouhaha. He lived, you know what I mean? Whatever he did, I guess he deserved it or whatever. I don't know. He came back outside. We finished playing basketball. And like, I'm not saying that Adrian Peterson should have done that to that young boy, to that boy, but to act like people who act, these country ass dudes that's on TV act like they don't have any frame of reference to that type of thing. And he ain't walk in and hit this dude with a brick. And he wasn't like drunk and abusive, one of those, I hate you, and just start kicking his kid's ass. He was disciplining the kid the way that he knew to be disciplined. Whether you consider it to be right or wrong is another issue. But to act like Adrian Peterson, who, by the way, I feel is a bumbling idiot, by the way. And I think he's a bad guy in general, but not for this, not for that. So it's the same thing with Jameis Winston. He's country as hell, man. Bessemer, Alabama, spelled Bessemer, Alabama. I played in college with a dude from Bessemer. That's how I know this. Bessemer. They call it Bessemer, but it's Bessemer, Alabama. Country as hell. And got caught up. And the next thing you know, he's talking about girls needing to shut up and not say a damn thing because that's what they're supposed to do. Oh my God. That dude is totally, totally awesome. The Oscars this weekend. I don't know if you guys and girls are gonna watch the Oscars this weekend. I'm not. I'll give you guys real quick the top. What's the word I'm looking for? The nominations, right, in the top categories. I made sure I went and looked for it because I don't know. For best picture, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 minority films. Fences. The joint with Viola Davis and Denzel, awesome movie. Saw that. Denzel, he's like, if that dude that Denzel is playing ain't your daddy, you knew, like, your homie had that daddy. You know what I mean? Like, that hard ass. My dad was that dad. He wasn't as bad as like Denzel in this movie. Like, he ain't had like a drinking problem or nothing like that. He was that dude, man. White man, and he's go to work. We just work around here. That football stuff I was into, like, what? Yeah, spoiler alert if you ain't seen the movie. Whatever. Go out and see the movie. Hidden Figures, saw that. Cool movie. I think it could have been done better. Lion, I hadn't seen that yet. I might check that out, though, pretty soon here. The joint with, if y'all saw Newsroom, the HBO show Newsroom, the kid that, the Indian kid from that show, he's the star of that. And Moonlight. I don't even know what Moonlight is. I just hear everybody talking about it. Does it have something to do with like homosexuality in the black community? I don't know if that's a thing. You guys can text me 404-902-8104 or say the answer in the chat room or leave your comment below the video. And again, don't it doesn't have to be if you're listening live. If you're listening to the show on demand, like a lot of you do, you can always just get at me, same ways, and I'll get the answer. Save me the time. I told my old lady this the other day. Like, she asked me a question about the weather one day. She's like, "Is it gonna rain tomorrow?" I was like, "I thought you had Google." That eliminates the excuse for anybody to ask another human being a question ever again. You never have to ask me anything because you have Google or whatever, AccuWeather or whatever's on your phone. The other main category is Best Director. I do not know if any of these people are black. I know the ones who aren't black. And by the movie, I can tell they're not black. Maybe this dude, Barry Jenkins. That sounds like a black dude. Moonlight. So, Oscar's not so white. Best Actor. Denzel's in that joint to, cover the quota. 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 20%. Much, way, way higher than the national average. We're only 13%. So, Denzel Washington, Best Actor nominee for Fences. I saw Manchester by the Sea, too. That's a pretty ill movie. Casey Affleck. Dude's a good-ass actor, man. He's probably better than his brother. Now I think about it. Best Actress. No Sisters. Yeah, I know these names. I don't know. Isabel Huppert. That don't sound like a black name, is it? Ruth Negga. Negga? 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 Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, she is a black woman. The movie Loving. So that's another, that fills the, I haven't seen that either, but that fills that quota as well for that category. Yeah, a little light-skinned shot. She's from Australia, too. Like, she's doing all this, like, slave talking. I'm not slave talking. This old-school, country-ass black folks talk in this movie. But she's, I think, from Australia. What's the other category here? Best Supporting Actor. Man. Mahershala Ali from Moonlight. And oh no, the other movie that I saw though. I saw Nocturnal Animals. That's some dude from that movie is in that category. Best Supporting Actress. Bunch of black folks in here. Naomi Harris, Moonlight, Viola Davis, Fences, Octavia Spencer, Hidden Figures. Like Octavia Spencer, you know who she is? She's the new golly, what is her name? Loretta Devine. Like, she's everybody's mama and auntie. That's who she is. In every movie, you can be like, yeah, my mom would have done that too. Or my auntie would have done that. She's like everybody. She's like the universal black mama or auntie. I mean, Loretta Devine is still Queen Bee for that, but you know what I mean? Best Documentary, OJ, Made in America, Murderous Show. Yeah, sounds about right. And then 13th, yep, movie about continuing slavery. Yep, two good. They both good as hell though. So those two are up for Best Documentary, and Best Foreign Language Film is the next major category. Of course, all these places: German, Australia, Iran, Sweden, Denmark. No black people there, not that I know of. All right, we got a couple minutes left in tonight's show. Appreciate you guys joining me here on a Friday. Facebook Follow Friday. Isn't that a thing? Did that used to be a thing? Let me get back to my rundown real quick to make sure I get everything. Oh, speaking of movies, man, this movie Get Out, we might go check this out this weekend, only because we were looking at on Vice News yesterday, the dude that did it, Key and Peele, the other dude, Peele, the one with the big lips, he's actually the director of this movie Get Out, and it's like a mad racist horror film. Like, this dude has a black dude got this white girlfriend, and they go meet her parents, and it's like real creepy and weird, but it's supposed to have all these racial undertones in it, like my type of movie. So I'm gonna definitely try to go check that out as well, man. I advise you guys to as well, because like you don't hear that a lot. You hear about like the black movies, Nat Turner and Hidden Figures and Fence. You hear about those things, but how many brothers have done a horror movie? I guess 13th. That was a horror movie to me. It's a documentary, but yeah. It might as well have been a damn horror movie. I think that's it for the boy, man. I think I'm good. I did Jameis Winston. I did the trades. Oh, the last thing. Last night, man, something happened in that basketball game. I know a lot of y'all go to bed so you get to see the highlights the next morning. That Golden State thing is for real, for real. And I didn't get a chance to talk to my man Jovan Buha about it. Oh, this ain't the last thing because I got to talk about this combine thing. I didn't get a chance to talk to my man Jovan Buha about this, man, but when it gets going, man, these dudes scored 50 points in one quarter. Like, they was still on, like, all-star game mode or something. Crazy. And when it gets going, they turn to huge a-holes, too, and I love every bit of it. The bench is going crazy. Steph is high-stepping and patting his chest and booty-bumping with cats, and Kevin Durant's pulling up from so deep it's ridiculous. That's, like, the people, Stephen A. Smith team, people who's like, oh, it's going to ruin basketball. Not so much. It's awesome. It's awesome. The only bad part about it is it comes on too damn late. I think the Hawks are on right now. Matter of fact, did y'all hear about Dennis Schroeder, the German kid getting suspended? I guess he wanted some extra time off and didn't come back on time, so they're going to be without him tonight as they take on, who are they playing tonight? One of the top teams, is it Boston? Did they play tonight? Let's see real quick while I got you guys. The NFL Combine is next week. One of my favorite times of the year. The evaluation process of the next crop of kids that are going to roll through the NFL. But this year is going to be a little different. They got some kids that aren't going to be invited because of they're playing in Heat tonight. They won't be invited because of some things that they did off the field while they were in college, which, I don't know. The NFL does this grandstanding bullcrap. You know what I mean? Like it even makes a damn difference. The NFL doesn't care. They don't care about women. They don't care about weed. They don't care about any of that stuff. They care about the perception of it to the outside world. That's all they care about. So this kid, Joe Mixon, everybody know about this kid, Joe Mixon from Oklahoma. A couple years ago, got into it at a coffee shop, ended up punching this girl in her face after she slapped him, and he said some racial things were said and all this kind of stuff. Right? He had to sit out a year, played another 2 years, and now it's time for him to go to the league. But 2 years later now, they're saying because he got into that trouble, he can't come to the combine, which then makes you think, like, is it really that much of a punishment? Because he still get his pro day. You know what I mean? Get to run, do all the drills there, whatever. The only thing you don't get the official measurements and all that. You don't get to sit down and grill the kid over the incident. So it's good for him. He don't have to stand in front of the media like Robert Condici did last year and start snitching on everybody while he up there. There's a kid from Baylor. I don't know if you guys remember this video. My man was on the video beating the hell out of some damn dog for whatever reason. It's just, that's weird. And I don't really care about the dog because I'm not an animal guy. I'm not a dog lover or any of those things. I just think it's weird to do that. Like, in your free time, you could be playing like Call of Duty or 2K or something. You decide you don't get on tape and beat your damn dog to have to death and put it out on social media. Yeah, that's weird. That might even be weirder than Joe Mixon punching that girl, because like I said before, it's like every action you don't necessarily get to predict the reaction. You know what I mean? Like, I think if we have, this ain't a matter of, well, he hit her first. It ain't a matter of that. I think just rational people, if I asked you a question, just one blatant question, yes or no, do you feel like he would have hit her, period? He'd have put his hands on her, period, had she not hit him? I think most rational people would say no. His reaction wasn't the reaction that most of us would have accepted freely, but it was his reaction, and the reaction comes after an initial action. You know what I mean? So this dog thing, I don't know what the hell this dog could have done to get with that dude, this kid Ishmael Zamora, and then it's Baylor. Yeah, they got like this culture of just crazy stupidity and ridiculousness there anyway. So, death penalty be on to you. Whatever, you know what I mean? Then there's Ole Miss quarterback. They had to throw a white boy in there real quick to like throw you off the scent. Chad Kelly, he got into a couple things. He was like apparently rolling up some weed on the video, got into a little skirmish at a high school football game, some other things. But in reality, when it's like, who still thinks about Frank Clark? Frank Clark was a kid that out of Michigan that the Seahawks drafted, and the story went, he was at a hotel and some kids heard what was going on in the hotel room they were in. I think they were the kids or the siblings of the woman that Frank Clark was allegedly beating up, And they running around to I think he's going to kill her. I think he's going to kill her. And apparently the Seahawks was like, yeah, we did our due diligence and we didn't find any evidence. Like as though those kids like, you know what we should do? We should run down the hall while she's in here screaming her head off and start saying he's killing her and see what happens. That's kind of elaborate. You know what I mean? Tyreek Hill, everybody's favorite fast-ass dude for the Kansas City Chiefs. He had an incident. No one cares anymore. Because you know why? He can ball. Just ball. It's my famous statement. It ain't famous, but it's one of my favorite statements when it comes to guys like Johnny Manziel. Be a coke addict, be a drunk, but ball. If you can't do any of those things, you better be Tim Tebow and then hope somebody want to give you a chance. Like Tim Tebow got many a chance. You know why? He's squeaky clean. Why not? Why not do it? You know what I mean? Threw a pass, through a 12-yard crossing route in the playoff game, and everybody's like, Tim Tebow won a playoff game. Calm down. Bebe Thomas ran 80 yards with that football. No one cares, right? No one cares about that. Because Tim Tebow, Magic, Tebow time, and all this ridiculous, stupid stuff. So, inevitably, it's one of those things that the NFL is doing, but it has no teeth, really. You know, the kids that we're talking about are decent players. Joe Mixon's a very good player. He's like the number 5 ranked running back. So he'll get drafted second day probably, right? And then it'll be up to the team that he gets drafted from to decipher who he is as a person, because guess what? They don't get to do that at the combine because the NFL wants to act like they're tough. We don't stand for that kind of stuff. Sure you do. You stand for it until tapes come out and journals come out. Then it's like, no, we can't have that. It's all a PR front, man. So NFL Combine next week, which means I'm probably going to have to try to get my man Rand Carthon on the phone. He's the, what is he, the advanced pro player development player director? Something with the Rams. He does the combine stuff for the Rams. So try to get him on. And, of course, my man Alex Cabtalk from NFLDraftBlitz.com. We'll definitely chop it up with him as well. So that's going to do it for the week. I did 2 out of 3 this week. And you know what? Until I get through with this rebrand, with this reboot, it may be more stuff like that because it's just taking time, like redo logos, and I got to redo the website and all this kind of things. I'm going to talk to my man Reggie tomorrow. My man Reggie. About some things, adding some things to the show, some more interactive type stuff, some more fun, stupid, ridiculous stuff. So it's not just me being ridiculous all the time. It actually has a rhyme and reason to what I'm doing around here. So until Monday, I'm going to enjoy my weekend, watch some basketball this weekend. You know what else I got to start doing? I got to start paying attention to college basketball. More than I have been. I've been kind of skimming over it real quick, reading the cliff notes or whatnot. But I got to start putting my nose in the books, college basketball wise, NFL draft wise, and all these things because I've been slipping on my pimping. Anyway, One Mic with Big Mike. It's available on demand. So tell a friend to tell a friend. Reggie, I am no doze. My man Big L, all y'all. Tell your people, man, I'm here. Spreaker.com. Tell them to go get the Spreaker app. Most everybody has a TuneIn app, so look me up on there as well and check out the website. I might shut the website down for a minute while I revamp everything, though. But also on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and, of course, YouTube. I think the Facebook streams lasted the whole show today, so I get a chance to upload the video from the night. Shout out to my man Jovan Buha of ESPN for joining me tonight. Check your boy out and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at One Mic with Big Mike. Like the Facebook page, One Mic with Big Mike, and answer my hashtag. Put it on the poll questions on the Twitter page at One Mic with Big Mike. Until Monday, man, you guys have a good weekend. It's going to be a nice one here in the A. I'm going to try to enjoy myself as well. And I'll see you all on Monday.